سجار 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 تنقنا أجر سجير كانيو زي سجار قدر زي رسع قدر سجار 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 تنقنا أجر.
Please follow me, like my videos, comment on my videos, share my videos, and God go bless you.
I'm in charge of the region and I see my people dying of hunger, and I don't expect anyone from Addis Ababa to tell me that people are not dying from hunger. That's the fact on the ground.
In 1984, the world eventually rallied to the cause of starving Ethiopians. But this time, governments are distracted by the crises in Ukraine and Gaza. Few are paying attention to what's happening in Ethiopia.
Lindsay Hilson reporting. Well, earlier I spoke to Getachew Reda, president of the Tigray Interim Regional Administration, and I began by asking him about the current humanitarian situation.
The current situation is characterized by people not being able to feed themselves in many parts of Tigray, essentially because of the war that has destroyed not only lives, hundreds of thousands of them, but also, more importantly, livelihoods. And people who have suffered as a consequence of the war are now facing the wrath of nature.
The Prime Minister spoke just the other day as he received an award for his contribution to economic and rural development of his country's absolute commitment to zero hunger goals. I just wonder what you make of that.
Well, I have nothing against the Prime Minister making a commitment to zero hunger. My only issue is that while that promise is something that we have to wait until it becomes a reality tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, the reality remains on the ground, especially where I am in Tigray, that people are starving today, not necessarily because they are not able to produce, but more importantly because they have been denied the opportunity to produce.
What is the situation with aid? Because we know, as you suggest, millions need food aid across the country. Yet we also know that soldiers on all sides, including Tigrayan forces, have been accused of stealing some of that aid. Is your administration part of the problem, do you think?
Well, look, this allegation has been flying around. Of course, about 10 months ago, when I took charge of the interim administration, one of the first order of my administration was to see that these allegations were investigated and those who were involved in stealing food were held to account. We have so far made an investigation into this, and we have been able to charge about 500 people for stealing aid. We have held many people to account and will continue to cooperate with international agencies.
I mean, people are beginning to draw parallels with 1984, the terrible famine, which then grew also out of that terrible double assault of conflict and drought. How can this be prevented this time?
Drought is something that nature could bring about. And famine essentially is about governments not being able to address such an issue. And if what the Prime Minister had to say in Rome is anything to go by, it is his responsibility, our responsibility, to see to it that this unfolding famine doesn't end up killing thousands, if not millions. Because if we fail to address this problem in time, whatever happened in 1985 would pale in comparison to what would happen now.
I mean, Ethiopia's federal government denies there's a famine in the region and accuses you of politicizing the crisis.
Well, look, whatever the protestations in the federal government there, I have every reason to believe that the Prime Minister, despite his reluctance to use the F word in public, he, at least of late, my conversations with him seem to suggest that he wants to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. But I will continue to insist that it is not going to be helpful for a government to continue to deny the fact that people are dying of hunger. I'm in charge of the region, and I see my people dying of hunger. And I don't expect anyone from Addis Ababa to tell me that people are not dying from hunger. That's the fact on the ground.
Getachew, Reda, thank you so much for talking to me today. Thank you.
My pleasure.